It sounds great. So I'm Harry.
And I'm Luca.
And we're on the Aurora Music Works YouTube channel, and we are talking about two different Deans. So I've got the Dean ML79.
Yeah, and I've got the MLX Black Satin.
Yeah, and they're both black. And the reason why we've got these is because they're at two different price points, and they're both amazing guitars. And so we thought, let's find ones that are the same color, not the same spec, but close in spec. Yeah. So you can make your decision on which one you want to go for. So these guitars are stunning straight away. And it's quite amazing looking at the specs of both, because there is a difference in price. So the ML79 is the slightly more mid-range in the Dean lineup, whereas the MLX is the more budget-friendly, but
slightly more affordable. And that's mainly due to like the components they use. The sort of bulk of the guitar is relatively the same.
Yeah.
But there's a few things like the hardware and the pickups, I think, and just the materials they use that make this slightly more affordable, but they're both great.
They're both pretty amazing guitars. So I mean, straight away from a visual perspective, the first thing why I'm holding the guitar like this is because if I cut to Luca's angle, as soon as I hold it on my lap, I immediately block out his guitar. So excuse the fact that I've got it on my lap, but it's on the plus side, it's really comfortable to hold like this. Yeah. I'm not sure anyone will play it like this.
The signature Dean's headstock, you know, it's just it's very noticeable. It's very.
And I'm also cutting out on the main angle, but you can see it on Luca's guitar. Yeah. But it is they both, in terms of visual, they are both the same shape. This one does have the classic black, where you've got the satin black. So this one has a more gloss finish, whereas you've got more of a matte finish. So straight away, if you've got a preference there, then you'll probably lean towards the MLX. In terms of the body, and this is one of the things that they're both the same on. They're both made from Eastern mahogany with a flat top contour. They've both got the same amount of 22 jumbo frets. They've both got a 12-inch radius and a length of 24 3/4 inches. And then this is where they start to become different, and what I really like, and where you can start to see the difference in price, which we'll explain, and we'll also talk about the playability.
The difference with the construction of most of the X series, I think it goes throughout the range, is that they're all bolt-on necks. So they're not a set neck, meaning those will be slightly more expensive because of this, because a bolt-on is a slightly cheaper way of manufacturing a guitar, where you just bolt on the neck to the body like that, whereas yours the ML79 is a set neck, meaning it's been glued in.
So that basically means you won't see the bolts here, and it does feel a little bit smoother because you don't have any connection points. So when you're playing on the upper frets, you won't have any essentially feel of the bolt that you can sometimes get. But that does mean, and this is where the differences are and where you see it in price as well. So the 79 that I have, this is an Eastern mahogany neck, whereas yours is a maple neck. Yeah. And you can see that in the color as well. Yeah. So yours, you've got the really nice light maple, and obviously for this, you've got that classic black, the gloss that goes all the way down.
Yeah, so again, that's a difference in feel. Yours is a gloss feel, whereas mine is a satin feel on the back. And as well as the shape of the neck, yours is the classic Dean V shape.
Yes.
Which is very distinct to Dean, and it's great for like shredding in it. And this one just has your traditional C shape, so a bit more sort of conventional. And that's the thing, it's me personally as a player, I prefer a satin feel for one, and I prefer that kind of C-shaped profile. Yeah. So I might actually opt for if I was buying one of these guitars, I might consider that. I'd go for this, even though it's the more affordable one. But equally, you know, some people love the feel of a gloss neck.
That's me. Yeah, really? It's funny, and it's not. And this is why we've chosen the guitars that we're holding. It is a preference thing. So I actually do also love the look of a set-through neck. The feel of it, again, when you're up here, is just really nice. And I do like, specifically on the Deans actually, because normally I'd lean towards a wood neck like yours, where you can feel that. Whereas the gloss neck on Deans specifically, I love. They feel really smooth when you run your hand up and down, and I really love that. These also have the similarities. They've both got Indian rosewood fretboards, and I highly recommend, if you get the chance to check these out in person, is just take a closer look at them, because you can see all of sort of the grain detail of the wood. And I've mentioned this in previous videos, but on the channel I've mentioned this before, where I always love seeing the wood color in fretboards. I don't know why, I just think it looks really nice. The only other visual difference between these two is that the MLX, you've got black hardware, whereas I've got chrome hardware, and you can see it on the Floyd here and on the tuners. Another visual difference is that I've got cream binding all around the guitar, and you've got white binding. Yeah. I've also got gold volume and tone, and you've got black volume and tone. Yeah. And again, I would lean more towards the X for that.
Visually.
I think so. Like, I always love, even the little thing like a three-way toggle matches the binding. Yeah. But my preference is black when it's all cohesive like this.
I think generally speaking, with the 79 series as a whole compared to the X series, is that with the 79 they are trying to capture visually also the aesthetics of the late 70s era of Dean guitars.
So that's why it's 79, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's why they have probably more vintage looking colors as well. So yeah, they're leaning into slightly more vintage aesthetics, whereas the X is kind of all about performance, playability, and affordability. So yeah, more simple colors as a black satin, all black hardware, bolt-on neck. That's all sort of part of that kind of streamlined X range.
It is. And you'll see that in the price as well. So like I said, this one is the slightly more expensive one. And you'll see that where Luke is saying about the details, like the cream binding, you're then matching it with the cream zebra pickups, then matching it with the cream toggle switch. And those little details, which you do have on the X, but like you just said, these are sort of the modern versions of that, whereas now you're leaning into the 79 of that, the slightly more vintage, but with modern playability.
Lastly, I think the last thing that might bump the price up for your guitar is, as you can see from the label that's hanging from the tuners, there's Grover tuners, which this one doesn't. And also the Floyd Rose is slightly different. So this is a Floyd Rose FR20 and yours has the Floyd Rose Special.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a few little small things to keep in mind why the price difference may be different.
Exactly, and these are all preference to you as well. So like we have our preference with these two guitars, you'll have yours. So let's get into the electronics of it. Let's hear these pickups first, and then I'll give Luca the 79, and then you can hear the difference. So let's start with the MLX. Let's hear what this sounds like.
Cool.
You have great depth on those pickups. It doesn't miss out on any of those lower frequencies, which is really nice. So what pickups do you have in the MLX?
On the MLX Black Satin, you've got the DMT design zebra pickups.
Yeah, and I love the zebras, and it's all the little detail of how they positioned the zebra and that sort of thing. But they sound great. They really, really do. And that's compared to the DMT series time capsules on the ML79, which we'll hear in a second. So that's what it sounds like with a dirt tone, a very gain-driven tone. But these can actually do a lot more than that as well. So what do these sound like with a clean tone?
Yeah. So as well, before I was only on the bridge pickup, so I'll switch over to the neck and just play some clean.
Before we switch to the 79, let's hear the three positions of those pickups so we can hear the difference between neck, combination, and bridge.
So I'll start on the neck pickup, then I'll go to the middle position, and then finally the bridge pickup.
Great. And this is with tone rolled all the way forward, and then both volumes all the way forward as well.
Everything at tone.
Amazing.
Middle position. And finally, bridge position.
Amazing. So to keep it fair, we'll do the same amp, and this time I'll give you the 79. We'll swap.
Cool.
I'll take this, and this is what it sounds like. And to keep it fair, what do these pickups sound like with a clean tone? Amazing. So let us know what you think in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what your preferences are, whether you prefer the MLX, the 79, but either way, you can check them both out at auroramusicworks.com. The link is in the description down below. If you'd like to see more videos like this behind the scenes and different challenge videos that I give Luca with these guitars, then subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.